Now, next topic is vested and contingent interest. So these topics are not specifically relating to something, but these are like conceptual things, right? Whenever applicable, we can refer to these provisions, right? So vested and contingent interest is from unit 1 of your syllabus. So what is the concept of vested interest, first of all? It is defined under section 19 of Transfer of Property Act. All right, so section 19 of Transfer of Property Act mentions with regard to vested interest. What is vested interest? It is when an interest of a property is transferred, right? When an interest in a property is transferred in favor of a person without specifying the time or a specific condition. That means I'm not putting in some condition or not putting in certain specific time frame and stuff. Okay, so what I'm doing then? Such interest must vest in the person on happening of an event which is bound to happen. That means it is not dependent on some uncertain event, right? It is dependent on some certain event which is bound to happen, like death of a person, right? Man is mortal, we are bound to die. So if a property is being transferred on the condition of death, that once I die, this property is yours. Okay, so that means it is certain that I will die, right? So in that case, we will say that it is vested interest. Such interest must vest in a person on happening of an event which is bound to happen. Once I die, you will get rights to enjoy the property, right? So that will be nothing but vested interest, which is dependent on happening of some event which is certain to happen. Today or tomorrow, it is going to happen. The interest in the property remains vested in the transferee, even though the right to enjoyment of the property is postponed. Who is transferring? If I am transferring the property to you, you become the transferee. So in case of vested interest, what happens is such interest must vest in the person on happening of the event, right? On the transferee, even though the right to enjoyment of property is postponed. That means once I say that once I die, this property is yours. That means this interest is vested in you. But your right to enjoyment of the property may be postponed. Why? Because when you will be able to enjoy this property only when I die, right? So you already got the thing, right? You already got the interest, right? It is already vested. But your right to enjoy the property may be postponed to a time when I die, right? When I die, you will be entitled, but right now this interest is being vested to you. All right, so that is nothing but vested interest. In other words, interest is said to be vested when it depends on happening of a certain event precedent. That means today or tomorrow, this event is going to take place. When it happens, property is yours, right? That is vested interest when event is certain. It is going to happen someday. Okay, so take for example, X, the father of Y, agrees to transfer an ancestral property in favor of Y after his death. Right? So whatever share I'm getting, I would be transferring it to you. The interest in the ancestral property in favor of Y is dependent on the condition of death of his father X, which is certain. So I am bound to die. Someday I will die. Once I die, this property will be yours. Hence, on death of X, Y will have vested interest in the ancestral property, right? Once I say this property will be yours, interest you have got, but you may be able to enjoy the property after a certain duration, right? So it may be postponed, but yes, you have got the right. This is nothing but vested interest. There was one case relating to this, Sundar Bibi versus Rajendra, wherein court held that A would hold the property till his death, and subsequently after his death the property would pass to B, right? One person, he will be enjoying the property, holding the property till the person is alive. Once he dies, it will be transferred, right? It will pass on to another person. The interest acquired by this other person in the said property is vested interest. B would acquire vested interest because death of A is a condition which is certain event and is bound to take place, right? So when the person dies, you will be able to enjoy the property, but until then you have vested interest. All right, so it basically depends on like a certain event which is bound to happen today or tomorrow. All right, next we have contingent interest. What is contingent interest? It is being defined under section 121 of Transfer of Property Act. What is it? It is an interest which is created in favor of a person on a condition of happening of a specified uncertain event. So that is the main point of difference, that in case of contingent event, it depends on happening of an uncertain event. It may happen, it may not happen. We are not sure about it, right? So that is the main difference here. The person having contingent interest does not get possession of the property, but has an expectancy to receive it upon happening of that event, but will not receive the property if the event does not happen as the condition is not fulfilled. That means there is just a chance. There is only a likelihood that maybe you will get the property, right? If this condition is being satisfied. All right. If this condition is not being satisfied, you will not get the property. Contingent interest is entirely depend on the condition imposed on the transfer. So what is the condition that I'm imposing, right? On that, it would depend. For example, if one person says that if you, all right, if you get like 100% marks in your board's exam, I will be transferring this property to you. So yes, you are appearing for board's exam, you are preparing for it, but we never know, right? Tomorrow this exam only might get cancelled because of COVID-19. So what about it, right? It is uncertain whether you will be appearing for boards or not, whether you will be able to secure 100% or not, right? So what happens is it depends on some uncertain event, some uncertain contingent event. If the event happens, only in such a case you will be getting the property, right? That means there is a likelihood, right? That if you try hard, you will be able to get 100% maybe in your board's exam, right? There is only a possibility, but we are not certain about it, right? We are not even certain that you will be appearing for board's exam, right? So that is why it is contingent interest, and the other one is vested interest, where the event is certain, it is bound to happen. Differences between vested and contingent interest. First of all, the section which provides for the definition, right? It is section 19 of Transfer of Property Act, which defines vested interest, and it is section 21 of Transfer of Property Act, which defines contingent interest. What is vested interest? The condition involves a specified certain event. There is specified event. I have specified that when I die, that is specified thing, right? And whatever is specified, that event is certain event. For sure, it will happen today or tomorrow. A certain event means an event that will eventually happen, right? Whether today or tomorrow, it's going to happen. But in case of contingent interest, what happens? The condition involves a specified uncertain event. Like I said that if you get 100% in your board's exam, I will be transferring this property to your name. That is uncertain, specified, but uncertain event. We don't know if that is going to happen or not. There is a chance of happening or non-happening of the particular event. There is equal chance of happening or non-happening of the event. Next is right of ownership. This right is created as soon as interest invested, right? The moment I say, okay, fine, this property will transfer to you, I sign on the paper and stuff, it is vested, right? You got it. But in case of contingent event, what happens is there is only a chance or a likelihood of having the ownership rights, right? There is like equal possibility of you getting it or not getting it. Next one is the present right of enjoyment. In case of vested interest, there is present immediate right even when its enjoyment is postponed. That means the moment I agree that yes, I'm giving this property to you after my death, this right is being vested to you, right? You will be getting it, but your enjoyment may be postponed. But with regard to contingent event, what happens? There is no present right of enjoyment. There is a mere expectancy of having such a right, right? You can just expect that, okay, fine, maybe I will appear for boards, maybe I will be able to secure 100%, and maybe I will eventually be getting the property, but we are not sure with regard to it, right? So that is the basic difference between vested and contingent interest.